What's good, superstars? Back with another Omi video. You got Superstar Joe. You got Superstar Rob in the building. How's it going, Rob?
Good, you?
Oh, man. This punch utility is becoming ridiculous. Guys, if you're new here, do not forget. Become a superstar. Smash the subscribe button down below. Hit the bell notification so you know whenever we post about your favorite project. If you love Veve, if you love Omi, you're going to love this video. We also you can become a superstar VIP, $2.99 a month. Hit the join button underneath the video. Get one of these stars next to your name. Get some entries into our giveaways at the end of every single month, depending on which star you have. The longer you are a member, the more stars you will have entered into our giveaways. Also, we give away a star in the universe at the end of every single month as well. First dibs on any merch for VIP members. Follow us on X, follow us on Instagram, Discord. Join the Discord right now. First thing you're going to do, pause the video, hit the link in the description, join the Discord. That's going to be your ticket into any of the giveaways, anything that we do related to our NFT project, Starboys, any of that great stuff. You're going to want to be in the Discord. SUP program, end of the month. If you're a VIP member, you get entries. If you mint any cryptoids with our link, we're Cryptoids Ambassadors. The link is in the description. If you're going to buy any cryptoids anyways, might as well use the link, get some extra utility. Also, if you buy any merch, or if if you do not win, we will retain half of your stars for the following month. So we're trying to incentivize you to win at some point. We have a couple giveaways. We're giving away 100,000 Omi if you have this James Bond airdrop poster, as well as a Starboy. Follow the rules, and this will be happening in a couple of days here, 100,000 Omi. And also 1 day Disney theme park pass going to someone with a partner statue. We're going to be the first ever distributors of a entry into Disney theme park, having held a partner statue, bringing the utility that people want to at least one person. Follow the rules. That will be on at the end of the month, November 30th. Yeah. And we just recently gave away 1 million Omi to a lucky Starboy holder. So very, very fun program that we got going on there.
Yeah, don't forget, guys, make sure you take a screenshot. You might get delisted, right? We did this. I think we announced this on Halloween or something like that. I can't remember. Yeah. But just make sure you take that screenshot, because I'm gonna go to the Starboy holder chat and look for all the posts. I mean, I'm kind of worried. Maybe we should have made a separate chat for this, Joe. I'm gonna have to go digging. Who knows how many are there now? But yeah. I'll have to start flipping through there, make sure I find all of them.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, quickly, we're gonna go through the news. Not too much happened. It's the weekend. Everyone's having a good time. So this shouldn't be too long. But yesterday we had a Superstar Spaces. We talked about the VeVeVerse. It was actually a pretty fun conversation. We had Omi Daily Burn there. We had Mr. MC1 in the house. We had Mo Knows there, and Bones as well. So it was a great discussion. If you guys wanted to see our thoughts on the VeVeVerse, basically, does the VeVeVerse need gamification? Short answer, we think, is yes. And I think everyone at the end of the conversation ended up in the same place. It was just we kind of had different opinions on what gamification exactly is. So go watch the video. Let us know your thoughts in the comments over there. I thought that was a fun one.
I think there's an understanding that we all know that the VeVeVerse, when it's first released, to many of us, it will not have the true gamification that we're talking about. But when it comes down to it, is how much layers of utility can you offer so that people actually continue to stay engaged in the platform? And I think at the end, we all agreed you need gamification, and now how you define it. There's many examples of what gamification could be, but every layer of gamification that you can include is needed in order to keep the Veve fam and potentially new users engaged in this platform. So I agree that at the end, we went around the table for the whole panel, and the whole panel agreed, yes, gamification is needed, not a want. It's a need.
Yep. Speaking of some gamification, we have Alex and Crypto putting out these guess the content creators. The other day he did one of Veve Arcade using some Veve collectibles to make that scene. And today he put this one out. I don't know who this content creator is, but I really like what he's doing here. So definitely go participate in his game here, and let us know who you think this is.
That's a great job. Wonderful. Amazing. Incredible.
Double Quill, she has a new blog out talking about contests. So let's see if you have the same opinion as her about contests, and if there's too many of them. She has a great blog there, so go check that out and let us know your thoughts. Retweeted it to share some love, and I'd love to see what you guys have to say on that.
Yeah, she wants no more giveaways.
Go let her know. We need giveaways all the time.
We ain't listening, okay? We ain't listening. We're giving away.
Michael K, if you don't remember, we did a video with him about wallet guard, about security. He is sharing his AR, VR workspace. I
Wow.
found this incredible. I didn't realize that things were this far advanced. I mean, you can see the wallet guard right there on one of
Crazy.
his tabs, but this is in the VR space. Then he pulls it up in AR. Like, it's a pretty long video. Pretty
Wow.
incredible stuff. Look at this.
This is the future, man. The future's here.
Yeah,
The future's actually here. Look at this.
you can see like wallet guard in the background there.
Wow.
So
That's
pretty cool. So
crazy.
these guys are really in tune. I mean, if you ever have any questions about security, all that stuff, Michael K is a legend.
They're just on another level. These guys.
Yeah,
they're just another level. Amazing. Make sure you guys get wallet guard.
If you're gonna buy any cryptos, like we mentioned earlier, the link is at the top of our Twitter page. You can go and click that, and we will get credit and get some kickback. But if you're gonna be buying them anyways, might as well use the link because you'll get entries into our Superstar Utility Program at the end of the month.
Yeah.
All right, Rob. So why don't do you have the post pulled up?
I have it. So
Okay.
there was a big news. This got a lot of views. We're just talking about this before the video. Shout out Arahant, who, oh man, he put out a massive post.
Can you zoom in a little bit on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe that's better.
There you go. Yeah, that's good.
So he put in a massive post here. We're not reading the whole thing. We will point out though, if you scroll to the bottom here, he has almost 100,000 views on this post. So he really hit a nerve on this one. And I'm surprised. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. And I think what happened is you got not just the VV people. I think you got the Web3 people looking at this. So it really spread around. But we're going to focus on one specific paragraph that we think we can just discuss a little bit, because to do one video on this whole post, you need a lot of time. But we're going to do one video on this specific paragraph. So this paragraph, he talks about, I'm going to read the whole thing for everybody who is currently listening, especially for those, I know some of you guys don't actually watch the video, you just listen to it. So it says, thus, and secondly, OMI was sold as an unregistered security in key jurisdictions. The in-your-face economic reality is that the person buying OMI did so based on the reasonable expectation that they would derive a profit from ecomi's efforts. This is more apparent than with most other cryptocurrencies because OMI had and has absolutely zero utility whatsoever related to its promoted use case, and because ecomi is legally identifiable business entity that made explicit verbal and written assurances of the efforts that they would undertake on behalf of OMI holders to that end. So we're not lawyers here, guys. Okay, we are not competent on knowing the full legal requirements based on this description of unregistered securities, on what is considered, let's say, a security, what is not considered a security. But we did a little bit of research anyways, just to see if we could understand from our own research and try to just have the best understanding of what's going on with this paragraph. So Joe, why don't you take over here and maybe dig a little bit deeper into what exactly are the rules when it comes to, a utility token?
Okay, so let's go back to the beginning here. Let's go to the actual SEC website just for some definitions. And if you go under cryptocurrencies, ICOs, basically initial coin offering, which OMI did have one. If you go down to number 3 here, tokens sold in ICOs can be called many things. ICOs, or more specifically tokens, can be called a variety of names, but merely calling a token a utility token or structuring it to provide some utility does not prevent the token from being a security. Very important point there. Basically hammering the fact down that if you don't want your token to be a security, you got to have some utility involved there. And we went another step further. We did a lot more digging. We found a pretty good article that kind of summarizes. I mean, if you go into the SEC's website, they got loads of pages and all this stuff, and it's like hundreds of pages. This website seems to have done a good job of summarizing it upside. So at the end of it, it's a long post as well, but at the end of the Coles notes, basically synthesizing the responses from the SEC in their grant of no action relief. The following simplified rubric represents information about which features of the SEC look for when determining whether a token is a security or not. So we already saw it. If you just name it a utility token, doesn't matter. And if you lay out that it's going to have utility, this is how it's going to have utility, doesn't matter. So first things that they look at, no funds from a token's launch are used to build the platform. Rob, you have something on your end, I think you want to talk about there.
So I'm going to go back to the original white papers, and I will say that ecomi did add in at the bottom legal jargon under the risk and disclaimers, and they do say This is not advice. This is not an agreement. This is not an offer of securities registration. And there's a disclaimer of liability that they do not accept any liability from these white papers. But they put out the white paper to still give people an understanding of what they were doing. So this is all the information I have on what they did with their ICO. So there's a total supply of 750 billion. They're going to put 450 billion for sale. And then they said 20% is going to be used for the ICO, which is public and private sales, 40% for in-app purchases, 20% for business development. Okay, so clearly there's an indication here that's business development. And then 20% just for the team advisors and board members. And then if you scroll down, they actually break down the use of their funds. So they're going to say 55% will be used for licensing acquisitions. So perhaps after they sold the coin, they used the money and paid their licensors to get access to the license so that they can use it in their platform. 22.5% on product development. Those are probably the subs that they hire to actually develop the stuff. 15% on marketing, 5% on business operation, and 2.5% on legal expenses. So they have kind of pretty cool charts here. So they show, and we know that there's actually wallets for this. Like I remember in working with Put in Cheeks, I think that they actually have a separate business development wallet. So it's all segregated differently, right? So you have an idea of where that OMI went. But I think the key one here is the ICO funds and distributions. When they sold it to the public or the private sales, they used that money for these things. So you can go back and reread your first point now, Joe.
Yeah, so if I reread that point, as we're talking about here, no funds from a token's launch are used to build the platform. I don't know if the platform base was already built at that point. Like maybe that's how they get away with that one. It wasn't directly needed to create the entire platform. It could have been something that they used to better it. I don't know how that one jives, but it looks like they do have some of the funds from the ICO for business development, at least from what we see in the white paper. Number 2, tokens are immediately available for their intended use upon being sold. Now this one here, if the intended use is to be utility token, I don't think that's been anything that's been available yet to this point. Maybe in the 10 million OMI you can stake for some MCP points, but again, that wasn't the intended use originally. So again, there's a lot of blurry lines here, a lot of gray areas. So tokens are immediately available for their intended use upon being sold. And remember, these are 6 items that they look at overall to make their decision. So it's not one, or like they don't just focus in on one of them. I feel like they have to kind of hit on all of them. But Rob, what do you have to say about that one?
Well, I mean, they talk about it a little bit here. They say purchasing tokens as a ecomi collect is targeted to the mass market is of utmost importance. The onboarding and purchasing of OMI tokens remains a task that can easily be carried out by consumers with zero knowledge or understanding of the blockchain and cryptocurrencies. So to facilitate this, users will acquire OMI tokens using credit or debit cards or in-app purchases. So that was their plan. And then when a purchase is made using OMI tokens, the tokens involved in the transaction are exchanged for digital collectibles and then expire. So this is their discussion of what it was intended for. It was intended to transact and get digital collectibles. We know OMI NFT currently doesn't exist right now. And then after successful purchase, the invalid OMI tokens are sent to an inaccessible smart contract. So I think that, like, one of they talk about it a little bit here about OMI tokens. And there's also, they had the OUP. There's the OMI token pro, which got taken down, which had other use cases of what they want and the utilities they want with the OMI token. But I would say that currently pretty much none of those exist right now. And definitely at the time of the ICO, none of them also existed at the time.
I think originally they did have OMI to NFT.
Oh, you're right.
Which is kind of a saving grace in a way as well, right? Because when the coin was launched, they had that functionality, which kind of saved it as a utility token at the time. So I think that might be the way we see number 2 kind of saved. The platform restricts the transfer of tokens to wallets registered with the platform. That might be true. I don't know. I know that there are tokens in registered accounts on the platform. And I believe that David and Dana never sold anything, but restricts the transfer of tokens to the wallets registered with the platform.
Well,
I don't know how that works.
Well, I mean, we all have we actually all have wallet addresses. We don't have the private keys to them. But we all of our accounts have a wallet address of OMI, which we can actually send that layer 2 OMI into the Veve wallet. And then if we want to, we can send it back to our personal wallets. So if you do want to send it across, you would have to send it back to your personal wallet and then to somebody else's wallet. So I think it is restricted. You're not able to directly send OMI tokens from your wallet within the platform to another wallet.
Okay.
But with that being said, if you are able in the secondary market to buy somebody else's collectible with OMI, it would probably be done through your layer 2 OMI, which is in your platform, and then it'll get sent to another wallet. So in a way, that would be a transfer and may be a potential obstacle from an OMI to NFT with just having OMI in your platform. It may have to be from outside the platform. I don't know.
That's weird because they needed OMI to NFT to be like satisfactory on number 2, but then it ruins them on number 3. So I don't know, a little give or take. That's why this is like really, really gray area. That's why they haven't really been able to figure this out yet. I feel like it's just something that's still developing, and until there's clear lines in the sand, they can say negligent, all this. You're still developing the rules. How were we supposed to know, kind of thing?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Number 4, there is a direct correlation between the purchase of the token and the market price of the token. I guess there might have been times where there was zero utility. Now you have a little bit of utility for certain things. There's been third-party games now that have been developed, but this one here is saying like you buy the token goes up, and no other ways to impact that, right?
Yeah, and like this is a real tough one. I'm not sure what they mean. I feel like every token in a way is, and I mean right now it is very much like that, right? Like it's all about price movement right now. Yeah.
I think that they have because they do have that burn mechanic though in place, right? Where whenever you buy gems and then gems go to the reserve, whatever. I think that stuff there that impacts technically the supply, which would impact the price. So it's not like a one-to-one direct price implication. So I think that one they're okay. Tokens are only sold for consumptive use in the application. So that, I guess they're saying if it was, is this saying if they are used for consumptive use, then it isn't a security, or it is a security? Like how do you read that?
Well, the tokens are sold. It like basically that. I think what they mean by that is that if it's sold to be used strictly for consumption use in a platform, it would make it a utility token. But if you sell it for reasons other than solely consumptive use in the application, then it falls outside of being strictly a utility token. I think that's how I interpret it.
Yeah, I read it a little different. I read it the opposite. I read it if it's only used for consumptive, then it's security. But
no,
they
don't
it the other way.
I don't think they mean it like that. I think they mean it by saying that if you sell a token and it's only meant to be used for consumption within the application, that would make that the utility token. These are things that the SEC is looking for, right?
Yeah.
So this is the criteria. Is it being used for consumption in the platform only, or is it being used for things outside of consumption in the platform? As of right now, it's very clear that it's not used solely for consumption within the platform. Yeah. And up to date, it has not been used for the majority. I mean, they might have had OMI to NFT at one point, and that I think would fall as consumption within the platform. But we know from the ICO offering, there was business development involved, that they've also used it for things outside.
And this last one here, I think, is the one that is kind of hitting the buttons and getting Airhunt a little upset, and a lot of others upset. But I do think that because they have previously had OMI to NFT and they've had other types of utilities sprinkled in here, that's kind of where the lines get grayed. But tokens are marketed in a manner that emphasizes the functionality of the token and not the potential for the increase in market value of the token. So basically saying like you're planning to use it in one way and then it's actually being used in a different way, right?
And I shouldn't say I don't know 100% that they actually did use any of these tokens per their plan, because the white pages have no reliance of actual. They say below you cannot rely on this as a fact. So they planned on doing it. But in terms of the functionality of the token, I do believe that this was marketed to be used within a platform, within what at the time they called an ecomi collect platform, which is now known as Veve, right? So I think that they were very clear that they always intended to have this token to be used within the platform. But at the same time, they also intended to use this platform to raise funds, which we saw through the business development, how they were going to use it through the ICO, right? So I do believe that it's kind of both on this. They've done both.
And it seems like I mean, it's something that is still being developed. Obviously, that we don't know all the implications and the rules behind the entire thing. I mean, there's still lawsuits and cases with the SEC and other tokens and coins. So that's where we're going to kind of start to learn what is being considered security or not. And then OMI they're going to find their path that way. But I think them rolling out that 10 million OMI to get you some MCP points was like huge in their eyes, because now they have some viable utility, though MCP doesn't have utility yet. It just makes me think like this stuff has to be like top of priority for them. They don't want to get caught in this where there's no utility and then the only way that this like it's only a value driven. They want to have more utility. They're incentivized to bring as much utility as they can to kind of avoid any of this blowback. And when people look at the coin, they just see it as a utility token and nothing more. So I think it's in their best interest. And I don't think they can ever ditch the token, because so far, a lot of the things that they've done would line up with like being a security if they did that ever, right?
Yeah. And we don't really know or understand, we're not lawyers. We have no previous experience to understand these kind of case laws and any kind of precedents. So we're just going based off what we just showed you right now. And we don't really know like what that means for VeVe going forward. We don't really understand, is there any kind of issues, or if there's not going to be any issues, is you just, I feel like they kind of have to go moving forward with what they know right now. Back in 2018, I think it was very known thing that many companies were using ICOs to raise funds to deliver a product. I think that back during that time period, there was even less information about these kind of things. So I think that you can't really go back to 2018 and maybe, treat them with rules that are here now, because that article that we read was from March 2023. That's when the clarifications happen. I feel like you can't go back in time and say, well, in this time period, you guys didn't do this, this, and this. But at the same time, this rule came in 23. So you got to act now from the point that the rules were clarified. So, I mean, we don't know, but if I had to just kind of speculate, I think that it's almost impossible at this point to move forward in a world without OMI being integrated into the VeVe app deeply. I think at the ultimate level of integration, it's a token that is mined and used as incentive to deliver on some kind of actual end user function. So I know an example that we saw was like, storing files. An end user, his goal is to store files. The token's there for no other purpose than to help ensure that it gets mined and the files get stored. That was an example that they gave us of utility token, right?
Filecoin, yeah.
It's called Filecoin. It's embedded into the system. The whole file system doesn't work without the coin. I feel like VeVe needs to do a really good job making the VeVe app in such a way where you would love to use the OMI token for things that's going to get you benefits within the VeVe token. Based on my understanding of what we read, I don't think VeVe could ever ditch the OMI token at this point, because if they are, then they would have to basically get rid of it, and all the stuff in the past, which they promised and people bought with an expectation that they would go and build and they would deliver and profit. I think they're going to be in a bigger issue there. So I think VeVe's kind of in a weird situation. They got the regulation, but they have all the past stuff that they did with their. They are investors. That's the truth. The people who bought OMI were investors. So they got to move forward now, and they got to deliver. They got to get the OMI token as much utility as possible. And if it ever does come up, they can always be like, well, look at us now. This token right now, it does this, it does this, it does this. The past doesn't matter. It's just the future. And they have to just really think about how they're going to structure this in such a way where in the future, if anybody asks, they're going to be like, no. This is a utility token without question. And here's all the things it can do.
And I think one of the benefits of them being around before all this regulation is figured out is that they were around before the regulation was figured out. So it's kind of like, not that it's an excuse, but it's something that they can kind of lean on and say, look, we're trying to develop it to be in line with you guys, but you guys don't have that line yet. So we're doing what we can, at the same time satisfying customers who bought into the token expecting certain things and treading that balance. So that's maybe why we don't see the utility that we want yet. But at the same time, I feel like it's almost the most important thing for them to roll out, to save them and make everyone happy. So I feel like everyone's best interest is to have OMI have utility ASAP, and get it moving forward that way. So hopefully they're grinding away there and we get to see it soon, but hashtag soon.
Yeah, and that's why he has a point, but at the same time, you got to be careful applying this clarity in the rules to something in the past when the rules didn't exist. Yeah. But from basically March 2023, when they were clarified onwards, as more time goes on, when the rules have been clarified, it becomes more and more urgent, I think, from the ecomi team to get it as much utility as possible. They do have other games, ethical gaming, all that stuff, but I think it's the Veve one that is really, the bread and butter, that they got to get that OMI utility delivered. And I think it's a priority, in my opinion, to get it delivered. I know we were always saying, well, maybe, Veve doesn't need it. It operates great without it. Maybe it's have problems with licensors. But there's a lot of reasons for the Veve team to get this as much utility as possible, as soon as possible. So, guys, we would love to hear your thoughts on this. We are not lawyers. We're not experts in this field. We just did some research to reply to this post. That's been all the news and all the talk the last couple of days. So we'd love to hear your thoughts below. Let us know below. You can ask yourself certain questions. Do you believe that OMI is a security token? Do you believe it's a utility token? Do you believe that it even has utility right now? Does 10 million MCP count with MCP points that don't do anything? Do you believe that Veve can just get rid of the OMI token? Do you believe that they should give it as much utility as possible? Just let us know your thoughts. We want to hear from you. And if you haven't already, don't forget, become a superstar, smash the subscribe button, join the Superstar fam, hit the bell notification button to get every single video every single day. Also, thank you to our VIPs, $2.99 a month, Starbucks on your name, answer spreadsheets, giveaways, guys. Thank you all so much. Take care. We'll see you next one. Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye.